Trudeau's heart breaks with all the shootings happening in California. Really? Your heart breaks for shootings, yet you take all Canadians' taxpayers' dollars and you buy weapons to send them over to Ukraine to create thousands of deaths?
Is a really laughable matter. Hold on. Yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this. Ooh, I'm going to load this up. Oh, yeah. Listen to what people say. And he's walking. Look at him smiling.
Look at him smiling, waving at people. Like he doesn't even...
He doesn't even care.
If the few can control the many, and the many allow themselves to be controlled by so few, then they deserve the government that they get. All wars are banker wars. And so, in the end, they always take you to war to cover up the problems, to blame the problems on something else.
Or deflect.
Deflect. The real problem is central bank creation of the monetary system, the money supply. You know, in Canada now, we have a $5 coin. A $5 coin. You know, coins used to be for change. Now we have a $5 coin because, well, they're crashing our value of our money. In Montreal, you have people lining up for hours at night to buy a Nike running shoe that looks like a Montreal bagel. I mean, that's important to people over here. That's ridiculous, you know?
Well, it does kind of look like a bagel. I got a business idea, gym for pets. Or you come there with your pet, and you know, like the veterinaries do have the pet
Like
treadmills. Treadmills. So you bring a pet with you and run on the treadmill, you know?
If you have to do that for a pet, in other words, you're a pet parent and you can't even take care of your pet properly, maybe you shouldn't have one. Last night, I took the dog for a walk at 11 o'clock at night. I see a guy out there shoveling the driveway
with a mask
by himself, and he's got a mask on. You can't make this stuff up.
Look at him. Look at him. He's coming to this all covered up with the hood and the glasses on, and you barely see him. And, you know, conspiracy theory or not, like, is this the guy? Like
why are you sitting by him? Yeah.
And if they ever, like, this is how they're showing him, behind the snowfall. Is this the guy? Like, are we that stupid?
Now, how do you read that? Pope opens up on sex abuse cases, says church must do more. Must do more what? Sex abuse cases?
Yeah, who opened the door? Yes. I mean, everything is Hollywood. Moon landing is Hollywood. Russian warship with nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles nearly in strike range of U.S. Nearly in strike range. Right? So not quite close enough, but coming close to strike. That's the fear-mongering news that we're doing. So I'm ready too, and I'm excited. This is
Hardline views on breaking news.
Hardline views on breaking news.
Not heart. Hard.
Hard.
Well,
you know,
we're
like
gonna bang me.
You know, like a hard, like a man, like hard, like a man that trains.
Well, no, just hardline views. We're gonna have a female hardline viewer.
Oh, yeah,
here.
so we gotta
anonymous.
Yeah, we gotta introduce new guests. Well, actually, we got two co-hosts, so we'll go to the first one, the most important one. He's also a mascot. His name is Rambo, and yes, that's it's kind of old co-host. You probably have seen his tail sometimes wagging around, but we have another co-host today, and that's Anonymous. Well, I can see a little bit of your face if you want to be anonymous, so sit up. Okay, I'll adjust the camera. So the Anonymous is going to be with us, and she's going to talk about different things with us today. She does not want to be seen, but she just wants to be heard. And we understand nowadays, you know, you have to be careful about your identity with all the cameras around and here camera pointing in your face. I get it. I understand. Glenn, so let's go straight to you. What do we want to talk about today?
Well, first thing was I was reading that Trudeau's heart breaks with all the shootings happening in California. Really? Your heart breaks for shootings, yet you take all Canadians' taxpayers' dollars and you buy weapons to send them over to Ukraine to create thousands of deaths? Really, your heart breaks. You better check if you even have a pulse first.
That's actually so funny. Like, I just pulled up the Twitter comment, and the first comment right there, Trudeau has no heart. Right? And actually, if you remember, the first thing Trudeau did when he came into the office, he actually signed a weapons deal contract with Saudis. And what have Saudis been doing for the past few years? They've been bombing what? Which country? Neighboring country?
Yeah, man.
Yes, and they killed a lot of people with the help of
Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau. That's right. So I don't know. He's kind of selective on whose tragedy his heart is breaking for. That's how I feel about this.
Well, with his meeting that he's having at his retreat in Hamilton, Ontario, and the response he's getting from grassroots Canadians, that would really break his heart.
Yeah,
but it's making everybody else's heart glow with pride.
Did you see that? Did you guys see this? That is actually, I can't say it's funny. It's tragic. I mean, it's funny. I mean, we can laugh about it, but is a really laughable matter. Hold on. Yeah, let's watch this. Ooh, I'm going to lower this up. Oh, yeah. Listen to what people say. And he's walking, look at him smiling.
Look at him smiling, waving at people. Like he doesn't even
care. No,
Yeah.
Look how much security, but people pretty aggressive, give you that. But do they have a reason to be aggressive? Look at this smirk on his face. That's awful.
He's laughing, but
He's
his
enjoying it.
security people look kind of nervous for themselves.
Well, wouldn't you be? Like when you be nervous, because that's literally that's the biggest walking target. They are telling them they want him to be, I don't know, the things that he said in terms of how he likes being a dictator. Well, he didn't say it like this. He said he admires China, right? He admires China because of how quickly they can, make things happen there. Because, well, face it, it's
Well, we know who his father is, so.
Well, has it been really proven? We don't know. I mean,
at this point, I think it has.
I don't. I think in terms of more he's a WEF puppet more so than that whole Cuban thing. It's here or there.
So is Chrystia Freeland, and so is Jagmeet Singh. And it's funny that those two parties, which are minority parties, joined together to keep the power in the country, which most people don't even want. Talk about a democracy. We have to do something about this.
Well, do we really have democracy in Canada? Do we have a democracy in any of the democratic countries, so-called democratic countries?
No.
It's a perception of a democracy. They're controlling your perception of what is real. So people must start using discernment. They're going to have to start tapping into another sense, a sixth sense, a fifth sense, a seventh sense, if they could, to discern what is real and what is surreal.
Well, let's explain people. Do people even know what discernment means?
Discernment means separating reality from fake,
From illusion, the veil, the Maya.
Just a perception
How do you
control. So they control the way you think. If the few can control the many, and the many allow themselves to be controlled by so few, then they deserve the government that they get.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's starting to spread. All you need is 20% of the people to wake up, and they'll create 80% of the change. So this change will be for a positive. I think now it's starting to build momentum.
Glenn, so how do you discern? Is there a tool you use? Is there a skill you use? There's so much information nowadays. You can go online, you can go on your socials, you can watch TV, you can read newspaper. There's so many sources. There are so many. I mean, and I don't talk about even the sources. We know that legacy media is definitely, whatever you see there, it's 100% opposite. Right? It's 100% opposite. Or you can read between the lines and you know the answer just by reading the headline. Like reading the headline, you already can make a decision based on reading the headline. What's this? Is this a propaganda piece? What are they trying to say with it? You don't even need to read an article. How do you discern? Do you use a particular tool?
Well, real discernment is something that's within, and it's almost it's probably more like a human nature that should be tapped into more often. But they're purposely deviating people away from it through entertainment and a lot of dummy stuff,
Programming,
unnecessary stuff. So it's more like. What's the word I would like to use? It's instinct, intuition.
Intuition, I was going to say.
Okay? Yeah. A gut feeling that something is not right. Something has to be, it doesn't make sense.
So you go into a little bit of spiritual / mystical, meaning like there's something that beyond, so you could practice this through disciplines, right? Like you said, you can practice by focusing on you. How do you focus on you? You keep yourself strong physically, you keep yourself strong mentally, and you keep yourself strong spiritually. But those things require exercise. You cannot just stay strong by virtue. Oh, I'm thinking I'm going to be strong. No, you got to go to the gym to be strong. You got to do other exercises to achieve certain things. You have to be mentally strong. You got to exercise mental strength. Same thing with spiritual strength.
How do you exercise mental strength?
Well, there's another thing you can do is look at the history of the news and how often it was proven wrong, or the history of, you have to trust the science. Now we're seeing the science change almost weekly. So people are losing faith in what they've been told, and rightfully so, okay? Because there was agenda involved. So now we have to start exposing the agendas. There's going to be a lot of resistance to that because, people, there's also willful ignorance. No, I don't want to wake up. I'm happy in my little world, in my perpetual...
Because they haven't been affected yet. We were discussing about this. The middle class. Until the middle class loses their savings, their bonds, and they're unable to, that's when. Because they're comfortable right now. You know what I mean? They haven't been fully affected materially. So spiritually, they don't have to go and look for it. So once their money source is cut off and they lose everything, it's going to be interesting to see what the middle class will do.
Well, you learn things about a person's character during tough times.
It's true.
People are already complaining that times are getting tough. It hasn't even started yet, people. Okay? It's been too easy for too long. So your will muscle, if you will, has been atrophied. It hasn't worked enough. So the hard times will be coming, and you will see the difference.
Have you ever heard that thing? Hard times create strong man.
Of course,
strong man creates.
If you watch that show, if you watch that show, you would have heard that from Glenn the man himself. Here's the thing. Let's practice discernment. So I pulled up an article here right away. Better late than never. Polish PM applauds West for sending tanks to Ukraine. First of all, well, I was going to play the game. Guess who wrote this article? And you can see it right away. It's there. It's CTV News, so you understand the source. But if you had to, before you even read the articles, what's this based on this headline? What do you think this is about? How would you read it otherwise? How would you translate this?
All wars are banker wars. And so in the end, they always take you to war to cover up the problems, to blame the problems on something else.
Or deflect.
The real problem is central bank creation of the monetary system, the money supply. In Canada now, we have a $5 coin. A $5 coin, coins used to be for change. Now we have a $5 coin because, well, they're crashing our value of our money. So this is what inflation really is. It's not all these supply chain problems that they're trying to say that's the cause, or it's not Putin and Ukraine war. And no, the real thing is they're printing too much money, and this is devaluing the currency. So the money supply is too much for the amount of goods and services, so that lowers the value of the dollar and raises the prices in dollars that you're paying for those goods and services.
So, in other words, if we read the same article here, right? So we'll read the headline. Canada releases $5 coin in honor of Queen Elizabeth, and it's dazzling. So, in other words, this is how I translate this. I translate this. You can buy nothing for a quarter anymore. So everything costs at least $5. So instead of you carrying a pocket full of change, here, we'll save you some time and money.
It's like no more dollar store. It's a $5 store.
But look what it says at the bottom.
What does it say at the
It's
bottom?
one of the first issued in a souvenir collection of precious metals that include silver, gold, and platinum coins.
Interesting.
It should give people a wake up of where we're going to a sound monetary system, something that's we've always reverted back to for
Gold.
thousands of years.
So you think good people are winning?
We are. The light
That's
has
good.
won.
Yeah.
That
All right,
is our right.
Hold on. Let's go back to this article. Let's practice discernment on this one. About the Polish PM, right? Better late than never. You're right. It's a banker's war. But the way I understand this, if you read Canada is joining several other allied nations in sending tanks to boost Ukraine's forces in its continuing struggle with Russia, a move that is welcome news to Poland, a country which has been vocal in the need for Western allies to send more support to Ukraine. Like just everything you need to hear in this first paragraph, that's what you hear. Clearly, this is not Ukraine-Russia conflict. Like this is just like, and as a matter of fact, I was watching few European MPs saying, well, if Russia wins, then Europe loses. So we need to do everything in our power to make sure Russia doesn't. So they don't even deny the fact that's a global conflict, and that is no longer, which Russia was saying all along.
Bilateral.
Yeah, this is not, and this is what I've been saying. This is a lot more than just Russia-Ukraine conflict. This is a lot bigger. Now, there's a lot more destruction, I believe, in the story. However, let me ask you this. A tank is a complex piece of machinery. It's not like you're buying a snowblower from Canadian Tire. It's not like you're going to a Home Depot and getting a drill that you can go watch a YouTube video or ask your neighbor to teach you how to use it, and you can start using it. It's with all the new, it's not a tank from World War II, which is all mechanics. A lot of that stuff is, computer operated with a lot of sensitive equipment in it that requires years probably of training to be performed at the highest level, at the efficiency where it could be put in the middle of war action. So are they sending just tanks, or they're sending the crews with tanks in them too? And that's been my thing all along. Are those mercenaries really mercenaries? Well, they've been training them, but I'm saying, like, how long does it take to train? Have they been training them for a few months, few years? And if they have been training them for a few years, then they've been expecting this war. They've been prepping for this war.
Speaking of train and tanks, I believe you have a shot of a whole bunch of tanks that are leaving America on trains. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, let me. I'm going to pull this up just a second, but I don't think I pulled it up. But let's. Yeah, there was a video.
That was an independent, like a journalist.
Yeah, I don't think I can pull it up. Video.
That's okay, but a lot of military hardware is definitely on the move. So something bigger looks like they're trying to
I agree.
cause problems. But I have faith. I believe the good is winning. I believe that's not going to go anywhere. And I hope, like here in Montreal, you have people lining up for hours at night to buy a Nike running shoe that looks like a Montreal bagel. I mean, that's important to people over here. That's ridiculous,
Well, it does kind of look like a bagel, but I can't believe nowadays this is.
How much are they paying for that?
It was like $160 or something retailing,
right there.
And now they're saying that they're reposting them. They can get 2 to 4 times the amount they paid for it. That's just the greater fool syndrome.
And it was snowing.
Yeah, it's just a greater fool syndrome. In other words, you're hoping a greater fool comes along and gives you money for something that basically has not much value in the first place. A running shoe that looks like a bagel? Really? What do you don't know whether to run or to eat your shoes or what?
What was the post of?
What?
This one, what does it say?
Montreal is a weird way to spell New Jersey, since New Jersey is the uncontested bagel capital of the world. This is the thing that people worry about. We're full of things that don't really matter. Like this is
a disconnect of reality. Some is entertainment, mindless entertainment. Look, if you can bring up the article on Hill's pet food, they make food for animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a pet obesity problem. So the pet food manufacturer wants to make a pact with veterinarians to find out, what they can do.
Well, it's like what you said earlier. It's in a previous show that, we have obesity problem with children. Children don't jump in SUV and drive from McDonald's. Like pets, the same thing. Pets don't buy their own food. Pets don't. Well, a lot of pets, especially the ones that are overweight, are city pets, right? They live in the cities, and that means they need to be walked.
Maybe they can look for the fat gene in the dog and the cat too. Or maybe they should label it, the poor cat or the poor dog, he has a disease. He has an obesity disease.
I got a business idea, gym for pets. Or you come there with your pet, and the veterinaries do have the pet
like
treadmills. Treadmills. So you bring a pet with you and run on the treadmill.
If you have to do that for a pet, in other words, you're a pet parent and you can't even take care of your pet properly, maybe you shouldn't have one.
Good point.
Let's take care of our animals. They're our friends.
Oh, you
too.
heard
Let's take care of our children. I mean, they're our future.
Mm-hmm.
Can we discern between what is really important? Can we discern what is actually good for our children and for our animals, our pets?
Well, you bring up a good point with the children. Now teenagers are technically still children, right? So did you see this? I mean, it's no laughing matter. But I don't remember reading headline news like this. Well, maybe crazy things have happened, but I don't. It wasn't a common thing like when teenagers would go in packs in Canada specifically and attack other teenagers or attack homeless people, as the headline news from a month ago.
Or attack people working in the transit corporation in Toronto. A bus driver or something. Like, he's just doing his job. So something is wrong. It looks like this is one of the problems, the results of breaking up the families. There's not enough discipline in the families. A lot of the younger people don't have a very positive picture of their future. There's a lot of pented up anger. I'm sure the lockdowns didn't help that, as the amount of anxiety pills shot up, usage
suicide
shot up.
Rates in teens.
Suicide rates have increased exponentially. Addictions, compulsive disorders,
gambling.
Obviously, this is not the right way. So, society is lacking discipline. They need proper leadership. And when you look at the bird over there in Hamilton, you say, really? Your leadership? I don't think so.
Well, when you talk about leadership, and I believe specifically in Canada and most of the Western countries, we've been conditioned to rely on the big brother. Your self-sufficiency is taken away from you. Like, you should listen to us. We'll tell you what to eat, what to listen to, like the whole thing indoctrination system. The medical system tells us this is good for you. You need to do it, and do it, and then your grandmother won't die. And then we'll learn about
wear 2 masks. Wear 3 if you're that ugly. I mean, if you're that scared.
I was walking by yesterday somewhere around Concordia, and there was like a coffee shop event, and every single person was in there masked. So I believe it was a masked event, meaning like
Well, maybe it was a
No, they
Halloween
can't-
party a
they
little
can't
late
make
this year.
no, they can't make it. It was by choice.
by
It was by
choice, but-
choice.
Wasn't a
Them
Halloween
seeing-
party? It was late.
But they
Last night, I took the dog for a walk at 11 o'clock at night. I see a guy out there shoveling the driveway
with the mask.
by himself, and he's got a mask on. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, by wearing the mask and doing that the exercise like that, you're going to bring down your own immune system. You're taking in too much of what you spend
CO2.
half of your life getting rid of. How could that possibly be good for you? And I just look at this guy. What? If you told people that the big cold, the virus wouldn't go higher than wouldn't go lower than 3 feet high, people would be walking around on their hands and knees. I mean, they believe this stuff. So
Because it comes from the authority, so the, like, again, it goes back, who's discernment. Why are you putting your trust into authority? Because you've been conditioned to do so. That reminds me so much of communism and Soviet Union and China.
But aren't you like, at this point, they've never seen better. You know what I mean? They've never, like, we've went through different government. We live in different countries. These people just know good time, like, so,
easy times.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to them,
I've had it too easy
that's
for
all
too
they
long.
know.
Did you
They
see
want to be told what to do.
Exactly.
Are viruses and bacteria really getting stronger, or is humanity's immune systems getting weaker? Because that's your first defense. So if we're not taking care of ourselves, then we're being overrun. And the way it looks, there's a lot of craziness out there. It looks like it's time to thin the herd. And that's what's happening.
Well,
It's almost by nature.
Terrain theory.
it's true. Listen, remember because of all the lockdowns, one of the things that happened was when children went back to school, they got extremely sick. Everybody, like, just, the whole classes would fall sick. And the reason is because they were not exposed. Not only they were exposed to each other, they weren't exposed to dirt on the street, on the playgrounds, or anything like this. And like, as a kid, I remember, how does your immune system get stronger? Go outside, eat a handful of dirt, and that's how your immune system. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Like, I spent the whole day eating dirt as a kid. Like,
See the fear mongering that's going on and how they're controlling society through the emotion of fear. It's the second strongest emotion known to man. First one is love, obviously. Second one is fear.
One being positive, one being negative.
Yes.
Well, let's go to overseas news. The England's on fire. British people, the MPs are worried that there's a massive spike in excess deaths, sparks calls for an urgent investigation. NHS crisis is blamed for nearly 3,000 more Brits than usual dying each week. And, like, there's an elephant in the room, right? Nobody talks about that. Funny thing is, we can't talk about this elephant in the room because we are located in Canada, Quebec, and we're doing this show for YouTube. So we're going to get censored, and we're going to get blocked, and we're going to get taken off and demonetized, and whatever else is going to happen to us. So, hopefully this will change anytime soon, just like the Twitter has changed. But people start, it's in the mainstream news. Look at this. This is Daily Mail, UK, talking about it.
What about the football player who all of a sudden, he
That's a crazy story.
I don't know. He just drops like a small little hit, and then they canceled the whole game.
All right, he's dead. What do you think? Honestly, let's take a vote here between three of us. Is he dead? Like, this is like, okay, let's watch this video. Tell me this is real. Like, this is supposed to be the guy
Who just got 9 minutes, compression, CPR on his ribs.
But let's watch. This is how he comes to the. Look at him. He's coming to this all covered up with the with a hood and the glasses on, and you barely see him. And conspiracy theory or not, like, is this the guy? Like,
why are you sitting by him? Yeah.
And if they ever like, this is how they're showing him behind the snowfall. Is this the guy? Like, are we that stupid?
I could make Rambo the Rottweiler dress up like that and fool people.
Well, why couldn't he do the live interview? If he's like, he's obviously well enough to wave and flap his hands, make hard things with it, and
after being dead and in coma and having tubes.
But he can't talk. He can't do live.
If you can't breathe, like if you had tubes, why are you wearing a mask? Your oxygen level.
Well, it's not even that. Why that you going too much into detail? Why, if he can do all this, why he can't do a live interview?
Well,
he's obviously helping out.
Personally, I just hope that he still is alive, and all this is fictitious. Rabbit hole stuff. I hope that the young man is okay. He was an athlete. He is an athlete. I hope he still is.
But what we found, are you going to show that next?
What?
Is that looks like he's not.
Oh, yeah. There's this lady on BitChute, right? There's this lady on BitChute that did the whole research. The video, if you go to BitChute and you go to Damar Hamlin is dead, Pennsylvania death record database, she breaks it, she walks it down for the whole article in this video. It's not a long video. It's like, I don't know, 6 minutes long or something like this. And she pulls up a whole bunch of Damar Hamlin's names, and she finds...
He's from McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania.
McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania.
And his parents' names are right there.
Yep. And she finds his death certificate. So it's not, it's an official record. You don't even have to look for it. Now, how much of that is true? Is it coincidence? Is another Damar Hamlin that died?
That had Mario and Nina as his parents?
And is his parents, yeah. The chances are maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But are we that gullible? Even when and again, it's going back to discernment. How do you know? How do you know if the things are true? Well, it's just been presented to you. Like, we have this, we have the video of the guy, supposedly him, who's not really him. Because if it was him and he was that active, able to wave his hands and show up, why can't he do a live show? Why can't he do a Zoom interview for the news talking about his ordeal? And my question is, why hide? What's the reason? What's the purpose to hide this all? I mean, we know the reason, but it just takes the whole different spin on bread and circuses. This is a real circus. I can't actually even believe this is happening, to tell the truth. This is ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? What else is really, really sick that is happening? Like child abuse. Did you see this story? Lethbridge parents charged in connection with sexual assault of 6-week-old infant. Like, this is, I don't know, like, what kind of punishment? I know how sick, how down on your luck, how hurt, how demented you got to be as a person
to do that.
Well, there are people who are saying, "Oh, it's not their fault. They were on drugs or they were in mental problems and this and that." I said, "No, it's not their fault. It's the child's fault because he looks so pretty, so cute." That's sick. These people, if they were found guilty and put in jail, you couldn't even put them in general population because the other people in jail who have done bad things, nothing compared to this, and they would kill them.
There's justice when it comes to those who abuse children when it comes to jail. But that couple, the gay couple who were abusing the boys they adopted, well, now they most likely will die in jail because they're getting attacked left and right.
Well, they usually keep them out of general population. They're in, solitary confinement and stuff like that.
But they can't be there forever, At some point, they got to come out.
And this never gets better. Yeah, a person like that type of sickness, I don't know if they're anti-human or what, but you never recover for something like that. It can lay dormant for a little while. You can do this. You can castrate them if they're men. You castrate them, and But what's the use of having this walking on the planet?
But I
It's
think
always going to be a danger.
and I think it's going back to your original premise, discernment. People don't practice discipline anymore. We don't have spiritual discipline. Where do the morals come from? Morals come from some kind of source. It's not just like you woke up, it's like, oh, yes, it's a bad thing. I'm not going to kill, rape, steal, hurt other people, and whatever. Even just go on basic commandments is that. What is it all coming from? Like if we go back to the caveman theory, that's the strongest survive and let's kill or be killed kind of thing or run, is very hard to develop morals in that sensation. There's something greater there. So I think a church has something to do with this kind of moral. And that brings me to another story. Pope opens up on sex abuse cases, says church must do more.
And that was a headline on the Washington Toilet Paper Post. Now, how do you read that? Pope opens up on sex abuse cases, says church must do more.
Well,
Must do more what? Sex abuse
Malarkey.
cases?
Oh, sex abuse, yeah, clearly. Well, and clearly that couple from Lethbridge, they were on point with that. I think they were trying to raise up the stats for the Pope. That's how I read that. So Pope has everything to do with whatever that couple did in Lethbridge. So Pope is responsible. Sue the Pope.
It's enough with this organization now. I mean, we've been hearing about all these problems, abuse, childhood abuse in Canada here, the poor Indigenous children and the grave sites, and it's enough. People have to wake up and realize, you're still going to a place every Sunday that is a part of this organization. Or I would say it's very organized, but it's a disorganization. It's something that's being hidden under like the Bible and righteousness and enough. Let's go, people. Let's get up to speed here about what's really going on.
You know who else is Catholic? Paul Pelosi. Did you see that story, Paul Pelosi's story? Look at that.
Came out today,
I'm gonna play this. I mean, they have a cam footage of Paul Pelosi arrested at the moment of Paul Pelosi. I mean,
in his underwear,
and things don't seem right. Hold on. Oh man, he got him.
You seem a bit scripted. Is it me?
Let's do this again. Let's do this again. So the police come up.
Well, they originally said that somebody had
Who
broken
opened the door?
in.
Who opened the door?
Hold on, listen.
No.
Drop the hammer. No. Hey. What is going on right
I'm not getting an answer on call.
Oh, shit.
But if you go back, who opened the door? Pelosi is holding a cup in his hand.
Okay.
No, being serious. Look. Okay.
Looks like a bad movie.
But look,
Way too much drama.
they show. Like who? Did you see that? Did you see that?
What's going on, man?
Oh, let's do that. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know who opened the door. Yeah, who opened the door?
Because he has glass. He
Oh,
has a
man.
glass in his hand.
How you doing?
Yeah, who opened the door? Yes. I mean, everything is Hollywood. Moon landing is Hollywood.
That was weird.
And it didn't look like they were struggling before that. And like this attack, we didn't actually see him hit him. Like we don't know if he hit him or not. He swung the hammer at him and looked like he reached towards him. We didn't see the actual hit. That's how a movie's actually done. And then there'll be a cut to him laying on the ground all bloody and stuff like this.
Well,
So-
if that's real, it's good to see the police doing their job. But there's a big problem going on in America right now with Tyree Nichols, is a African American, a black man who was killed by 5 police officers. Normally, there would be riots going on everywhere, but then we see the 5 police officers are also black Americans too. So I don't know. It looks like they're not going to be breaking into people's businesses and stealing running shoes and TVs, like as if that's going to make a big protest, you know? Maybe they should start breaking into businesses and stealing food, because that looks like what's going to be a real problem coming.
Well, my question is, how many of you heard about that story? Because it happened on January 7th. Right? That's the thing. That's almost a month later. Well, not quite a month, but still.
But it's all hush hush.
But it's all so makes you think. Not makes you think, but it's again discernment.
Who was the victim?
A black guy,
And why
African
they stop him?
American. Well, does it really matter at this point? Because
All
He's
these
raping
questions-
somebody,
With all
or
these questions, you should start your own newspaper. That would be real news, right? Not puppet the MSM&Ms, mainstream
victim,
media
yeah.
muppets just repeating what they're told.
well, they clearly didn't want this to be known or heard because it does not go with the narrative. Plus, that would actually take away attention from sending tanks to, we need to support the war efforts. And now, like I said, right now, U.S. is sinking in deeper and deeper into conflict with Russia. That's concerning. But so maybe they can still pull out the race war. If the cops were white, they could have done it for distraction. But that's clearly not. They need to distract from that Russian frigate, right? Did you see that? The Russian warship entering Russian warship with nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles nearly in strike range of U.S. Nearly in strike range, right? So not quite close enough, but coming close to strike. That's the fear-mongering news that we're doing. But I don't know.
When it comes to nuclear strikes, it's the submarines that are the real weapons.
Well, that's what it was, submarine.
It's not a.
No, that's
it's a
not.
frigate,
It's just a
ship.
frigate. Yeah,
The Admiral Gorshkov?
Gorshkov. Yeah. Well, that's the point, right? The Russia has so many subs that probably have been off the coast of U.S. for months now, if not for years, always.
But did you see what WHO recommended today? That all the countries were stacking up with
Iodine.
anti-radiation medicine.
Well,
That's fear-mongering.
Fear mongering. Yeah.
fear mongering.
Yeah.
Well,
All this going on as the American dollar is losing its world reserve currency status, the de facto petrodollar in 1971. They force all other countries in the world that have to buy energies to pay for it in U.S. dollars. Now, all this is going on as the U.S. dollar is losing its hegemony or its top spot in the world. It's going to be a little rough for Western countries and Europe.
Or anyone who's invested in them. Just think how many people are invested in NASDAQ and all these companies that they're traded with the dollar, right?
Yeah.
well, the world is changing in a big way, and I think the way we perceive the world even 20, 30 years ago has changed. Obviously, we had events like 9/11. That was a life-changing event for a lot of people. It changed perception of the world, for me specifically. But now, with all those war efforts, we understand this is, like Glenn said, it's all about the money and power and banking and, but we have another thing coming, and which is pretty concerning to me. It seems like a great tool. ChatGPT, Glenn, what do you know about ChatGPT? Tell me about that.
It's a division of OpenAI, artificial intelligence. It's going to revolutionize the way business is done. It's going to be hooking up with the blockchain technology. Everything is going to be ledgerized. It'll be a lot more difficult to put out false news. Okay.
And politician hiding money.
Fake news, as Mr. Trump started the name 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of businesses will be adapting this as soon as possible to save money. That's capitalism. But unfortunately, a lot of people working for these businesses, they're going to be losing their jobs. So I would suggest that they retrain themselves for for jobs that are going to be available, and not go to the regular education system, which is an indoctrination system, still preparing for people for jobs that are not going to be existing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you think like, well, no, I went to the medical school and I've studied. That's a skill. This is something that you require many years of training and practice. Well, in Canada, we don't have a medical system. In Canada, we have a processing plant that way out of order. Like it has been, I don't know. Underperforming for many years. You need to wait for a specialist for many months. You probably die before you see a specialist. You can't even go see a doctor for an advice. You can't even make an appointment for many months, and it takes you months and months. And especially, you're screwed if you don't have a doctor. A lot of people don't even have a doctor. But now this new system, ChatGPT, you can go online and ask it questions, and it'll probably give you an instant advice. And much cheaper advice. So, like, well, how can it work? And here's how. Just now, ChatGPT passes U.S. medical license exam. People go to school and study many sleepless weeks and years, like to pass this test. And now there's enough of information out there that AI can't pass a test. So, I mean, on one hand, that's probably even better because it will be, in terms of information, it can process it all the time. But the worst thing is like
empathy,
right? And
like where's the human relation?
What is the human touch? But it also, like, is the old medical system gone right away? Like, all the doctors no longer required. Well, the nurses may still be needed to apply for application purposes till robotics get better. And then robotics get to the point where you don't need nurses. I remember
but our medical system is going to change.
Oh, it's changing already. But
med beds are coming.
But yes, and I just think of the automotive industry as an example. I remember maybe it is as long ago as 20 years ago, 15 years ago, Toyota was building a manufacturing plant in Virginia. And for them to be able to do so, they needed to create some kind of tax incentive for the Virginia, meaning like they would have to employ X amount of local residents into the plant. So they actually had to require human positions in the plant, so they can justify the building of a business. Right. So that happened already in not so long history, where the robotics replaced the humans instantly. Right. With this. And now we actually have to accommodate for the human positions, kind of keep the jobs back from the robots, so to speak. But with this ChatGPT, look, even in the movie profession, you need a script. You can ask the ChatGPT to write a script.
Essay, research,
engineering, programming, computer programming. That was the hottest position for the last how many years? 20, 30, 40 years.
Let's find a silver lining in this.
Now it's going to be creating its own code. So the program is going to be creating its own programs applicable to all different types of industries. And these programs are just going to get better at programming themselves to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. You could say this is all negative if you're looking at one side, but you can look at it and say, well, it's going to free up a lot of time for humanity. And maybe we'll be entering like a period, a Renaissance period,
think so.
like
or an age of Aquarius, where we come to another level of understanding or perception, a higher level.
So we have a choice. Do we go the Star Trek route, or do we go the Matrix route, Terminator?
I think we already chose our timelines.
It depends on the individual.
That's
Need
right.
more people like us. A little positive in the world right now, in a world of negativity. You know, all this news, and you have Rambo the Rottweiler falling asleep here. That's how he discerns the news. But speaking of everything that's going on in the world, locally here in Montreal, the car thefts. That seems to be the new industry that's coming up. Car thefts is up over 100% in 2 years.
Well, because there was no inventory for the past 2 years anywhere. If you walked into a dealership in Montreal anywhere in the past 2 years, it was empty. Now it's starting to pick up again. But the past 2 years, it was empty. Of course, like necessity, right?
Especially Montreal being a port city. You know, you can make a new movie, Gone in 5 minutes. Cars gone and into the container and ready
South
to go.
America, Africa, Asia, whatever they're going to. Yeah. Well, isn't it the big, like, that was the big mafia thing, right? Whoever controls the ports, right? Controls the trade. That was always a big thing. And in Montreal, I believe ports are controlled. Now, they made a TV show about this. This is not me trying to spill the beans. That's not it. That's not it.
Another breaking news. Canada should be very proud of, and I'm taking that with a grain of salt, by the way, is our number one most viewed website. Guess what it is? What Canada, we make so much, we do so much, we're so advanced. So our Canada's website, which is viewed by the rest of the world, number one is.
Well, I'm not going to put it up online.
No, don't put it up. It's Pornhub.
So sad.
Well,
really?
Wasn't the owner of Pornhub, his house burned 6 months ago that he just built?
Well, don't the employee people, don't you guys have heart for those people that work in Pornhub? You know, that provides jobs and all that? I'm being facetious. I don't actually feel that way. But that's it, right? Here in the city, we choose to do certain things that necessarily propels the morals and ethics into the next level. It actually,
lowers it.
It lowers it. And, we can go into this whole conversation in our next show. I believe this was a good coverage of the things that are happening right now. I want to thank Glenn Herring and Anonymous for contributing to the to this program. We're going to do it once a week on Fridays or Saturdays. And we love you all.
Hope you join us.
Well, no, I don't hope you join us. I know you'll join us. Because if you don't join us, I know where you live. ChatGPT will tell me where you live. And then I'll come after you with Rambo. Have a good one, brothers and sisters. My last piece of advice, keep up with your discernment. Go to the gym. Eat well, sleep well, go to church, meditate, whatever rocks your spiritual boat, I love you all. See you on the next one.